Hello, my sexy human beings. Welcome to the Human Being Live podcast, a podcast about life and the way that we live it. Every Monday morning at 6 a.m., I am your host, Human Being. And today we will be discussing getting started, time management, and staying dedicated. But first, let's start off with getting started. I know that's kind of a play on words, but truthfully, getting started is one of the hardest things that we as human beings have to come to terms with. We would like to think that we should be perfect. We would like to think that everything is going to fall into place as it should, that there will be no hiccups, no mess ups, nothing that will throw us off of our path. However, we all know that is not the case. We know that times can get hard, times can get difficult, but it is those times that we find ourselves, who we truly are, what we're truly meant to do. For example, me getting started with this podcast is something that I've had to come to terms with. I've been wanting to do a podcast for years, yet I am just now getting started. And I don't think that I'm doing perfect. I don't think that this is going to be my best, but that is the reason why I feel the need to even get started. Because without even getting started, you don't know where you'll end up. As time passes on, I know that my podcast will get better. My lighting will get better. My camera will get better. My speech will get better. How I present myself will get better. These are all things that come in time. But yet, if I don't get started, I could never know how far I can go. Each step is pivotal. That first step is what lets you know that you are in the right direction. You don't know what direction you're heading until you take that step. So whatever it is that you're trying to do in life, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a podcast. It could be trying to start a social media and be an influencer. It could be trying to be a gamer and you've never really played games before. It could be trying to be an engineer. It could be learning how to become a mechanic and fix a car. Whatever it is, understand that those before you have all had to go through the same situations. Anxiety, doubt, people telling them that they won't or they couldn't and having to push through, which is why that first step is so important. It shows you that you have done more than what most are willing to do. Where others are willing to stop, call for help, not even try. I am here right now in front of you showing you that it is important to do your best no matter what the situation, no matter what the circumstance, no matter where it is that you see yourself in the next 10, 20 years, 10, 20 months, no matter even if it's days, that you have to start no matter what it is. I'm sure that someone's going to look at this and say, oh my God, he's doing horrible in this area. He's doing horrible in that area. But I would first ask them, have you tried it? And if they have, instead of telling me where I'm horrible, can you give me some pointers? Because that is also a part of going through the process, is taking in criticism, not being afraid of it, not shunning it, not trying to tune it out and go deaf, silence out all of the non-believers. Those that you look up to have all had to go through the same situations. Kobe would get to the gym before anybody else would get to the gym and practice, not because he wasn't professional, not because he couldn't do it, but simply because he wanted to be the best. And that comes from starting. Recently, I just started a new job, and truthfully, it's a job that I'm not familiar with. It's a lumberyard job. So I have to go in every day and cut up lumber. Well, specifically, I have to stack up lumber. Those are the pieces that I have to make sure are stacked correctly. And if they're not stacked correctly, then I have to start all over again. I could potentially damage equipment. There's a load of issues that can come from me not properly doing my job, which is why each day that I go in, I try to be better. I don't try to worry about how I'm messing up. I don't try to think about how someone could do it better than me. I just simply go in and do the best that I can. That's all that I do. That's all that I worry about. If I go in with the idea that I could do something better than someone else or I have to be like this person, that's when I find myself messing up, honestly. It's when I choose to believe that someone else's way of doing things is better than my own that I find myself messing up the most. So I try to look at myself and not someone else. The only reason I will look at someone else is to use their influence as a way to remix, add to my own, figure it out in my own way. That's when I truly find myself, not when I'm trying to mimic or duplicate. It's when I'm trying to remix, when I'm trying to figure out how I can be me in a job that someone else has already figured out. And each day that I go to that job is almost like I'm stepping into it anew because I'm learning a new difficulty. I'm learning a new way of how to solve a problem. I'm learning something that I didn't learn before, which is why it's important to just get started. I've never done it before, but yet I feel like I'm already mastering it. Not to be cocky, not to be arrogant, but simply just to do the best that I can. The same way that I'm doing this podcast. I'm not familiar with how to do a podcast. Never done one in my life. This is the first episode of season 1, which there will be 4 months in the first season of me doing Human Being Live podcast. And I hope to have you stick around to see me get better from this first step, because this is only step 1. Actually, this is more of step 10. Step 1 was more of learning that I had all the things that I needed: a camera, a microphone, which were meant for other things like streaming for video games, recording music, other ventures that I've had in the past that I've either let go or I'm putting on a halt so that I don't have to worry about someone judging me, which I realize now is the wrong mentality to have. People are going to judge you no matter what it is that you do. People are constantly going to look at you and say, I could have done better. But truthfully, haven't you done the same thing to some famous rapper? Lil Wayne has been claimed to be the GOAT for I don't know how many years. And there's always someone that's going to say, nah, he's not that great. When truthfully, he's one of the greatest artists of our time, Jay-Z included. There are plenty of people in our lives that we like to look at and say we could do better, but we have no idea what it is they've had to go through, how many steps they've had to take to get where they are. And until we step into that same light as them, we will never know. So I'm here to tell you, take your first step and don't let it define you. Let it be your reason to keep going, because your first step will never be your best, but it is a step. And with that being said, I want you to know that you should not have an excuse. Don't use any reason, any doubt, any non-believer as a reason or excuse to say that you shouldn't keep going or you shouldn't start. I'm sure someone's going to look at this and say, they're going to have a million things they could say that I could have done better. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm doing it. And as long as I can remember that those voices are nothing more than criticism, I can keep going. And that's what's important. I want to move on to my second topic. Now, this is a little bit unorthodox because I was going to say my second topic is time management. However, I feel like it's more important to move on into dedication, because from the first step is nothing more than motivation. You're motivated to start something new, to get something started, to say, oh yeah, I can do this. For example, the first time you step into a gym, and if you've never gone into a gym, motivation when you see somebody who you believe that you can be on par with. Like I said before, you could think that as a musician or as an artist, you can be on par with Lil Wayne until you step into the booth and then you rap your first song and then you realize that your sound is off, your cadence is off, your flow is off. All these things that you thought that you could match with Lil Wayne are off. And that's where dedication steps in, because motivation gets you started. Motivation says that you can do these things. Motivation says, oh yeah, I have that same gusto in me, but it's dedication. Dedication is the real key to keep going, because there are going to be times where you step into the shadows and you don't know exactly which foot it is that you're stepping on. You don't know if it's your foot, someone else's foot. It could be a tree, a root of a tree that you're stepping on, and you stumble and you're in a forest that you have never been in and you don't know exactly where you're at and you feel lost. So you doubt yourself and then you turn back. You shouldn't do that. No matter what path it is that you choose, you're going to find yourself in a predicament where you feel that you're lost, that you don't know where you're going. And if you turn back, you'll never know where you could have possibly ended up, because you were steadily walking and it felt easy in the beginning. That's the motivation. It felt easy to keep going. It felt easy for you to keep taking that next step. And then all of a sudden, I stepped on my own foot. Now I'm tripping. Okay, I got it. It was my own foot. Because sometimes when you're just stepping along in the darkness, you can't really see all that well because you don't know which way you're going. You're not always going to have the best ideas. You're not always going to know if you're going the right direction. And a lot of people will call on God in those moments and ask God to light up that path for them, to show them the way. Show me that I'm going in the right direction. Show me that this is where I'm supposed to be. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with you calling upon unknown forces. That's why they are there. Just hopefully you're calling upon the higher forces and not the lower ones. But still, there will be times that you need to call out for help. And it might not even be an unknown force. It might be a friend. It might even be an enemy that you've never known, or maybe that you do know, that sees you in that darkness and they say, let me take you this way. And they might guide you in the wrong direction, but it's still a part of your journey. It's still what you need to do in order to get where you need to go. Because a mistake in a forest in the darkness where no one can see you, it's okay. It's meant to happen. But mistakes in the light are even heavily judged, more so than the ones in the dark. You have to keep that in mind. When people can see you, when you look at someone on television and you see the mistakes that they're making, a Britney Spears, for example, who goes crazy from the amount of success that they receive, and you can judge them so freely, it's easy to see them mess up in the light because you're sitting back and saying, how could they do such things? Do they not see that they have millions? Do they not see that they are already in the light? And truthfully, they may not. Truthfully, they might be battling a darkness that you can't see because you think that they're in light because you could see them. And that's how it is sometimes. They're walking along a path of darkness while you feel like on the sidelines, they should know exactly where they're going. They should know that that's not the path that they should be taking. But they don't always know that because they're walking along a path of darkness and they're just trying to make sure that they don't stumble. They're just trying to make sure that they get through. So please be a little bit more sparing in your judgment of those that you can see. The same way that you watch a horror movie and you see somebody make a move that you're like, why would they choose to walk down that dark corridor? Why would they open up that mystery box that clearly no one should ever touch? It's easy to say something like that when you're on the outside looking in, but they're actually going through it, living moment to moment. They're realizing that in that moment, that their curiosity piques their fear. Their fear was not loud enough to tell them not to open that box, not to walk down that dark corridor. It was their curiosity that spoke louder, that said, why not? I wonder. Let's see. Where you would sit back and sit on the sidelines. They walked through their darkness and they discovered a different part of themselves. They have to be dedicated once they've opened the box. Once you've opened the box, there is no turning back. You cannot wish away your demons. You cannot pray that God sees you moving in a way that he does not favor when you're the one who chose free will to open up that box, to walk down that dark corridor. All you can do is remain dedicated and see it through. And hopefully you make it out alive. Hopefully you see it to the end. Not everyone has the same level of dedication that others do. To go back to the whole gym situation, those that appear more physically pleasing to the eye have had their own walks of dedication to get to where they are. Some would say it's genetics. Others would say you're just built that way. They like to take away your accomplishments and say that it's just a part of who you are, or something along the lines of, if I were you, I could probably be just as good, as if you haven't had to go through that darkness. I myself wanted to go to the gym today. I wanted to get it in, get my gains in, get my lifts, because I know somebody might look at me and say, man, you already look like you're in peak performing condition. And to others, you might be right. Compared to someone else, what you say may have some truth. However, I know that I can go further. I know that I could be more. And that's what matters to me more than what it is that someone else has to say. It's what I know that I can do and what I am capable of. To switch on to my last topic, Time management is something that I've always had a problem dealing with. I should not be filming right now. I should not be recording right now. I should not be doing a podcast because I want to do this podcast in order to show people that I have a long way to go. So far, in fact, that I don't know how far. I don't know where my path could lead. I don't know where I want to end up. I chose to do a 175-pound challenge because currently I'm 150. I was 135 for the longest time. I was in my 130s. Got up to my 140s and then I dropped back down. Got up to 150, then I dropped back down to 130s. Now I'm back at 150 again. So to go from that up, down, up, down, up, down was a lack of dedication. But now I am trying to master my time management in order to truthfully push myself, propel myself into a better outcome than what it is that I've already seen. It wasn't getting started that was my issue. It wasn't dedication that was my issue. There were so many other factors that were my issue. Not having finances, not having a good mentality to understand where it is that I wanted to go. I'm only doing the 175-pound challenge because my friend wanted to make it to 175 pounds after he dropped from 230s and all the way down to 190s, 180s, and now he is back up a little bit. But he was so close to his goal. So I wanted to make sure that he understood he was not alone because sometimes you need a team. I know that's a little bit off topic from the time management factor, but I want you to know that sometimes a team is what's going to keep you on track. You need those in your life that's going to help you stay on the path that it is that you've dedicated yourself to. And time management is my hardest issue. So I put a constriction on my 175-pound challenge to say that by the end of this year, I will be 175 pounds. There's 149 days left in this year. Plenty of time for me to gain 25 more pounds because, well, like I said, I'm at 150 currently. So there should be no excuses as to why I cannot reach my goal of 175 pounds. There's no reason. Sometimes you have to add extra constraints on yourself to narrow your path into where it is that you want to go. There are other things in my life that I hope to accomplish, not just being 175 pounds. Today, I also wanted to wash my clothes. The time is now 3:16 p.m. and I have to go to work. I have to be at work at 6:45, but I'll have to leave home at 6 to make sure I'm there on time. That is a part of my time management, is to make sure that to get to my job and be dedicated from my very first step of being on time, that I make sure I stay on time. This podcast was something I should have done hours ago. And this first podcast episode is not going to be perfect because I have those doubts. I have those fears. I have all of these extra thoughts in my head, my time management, the extra tasks that I need to do that are taken away from what it is that I'm doing right now, being in the present and talking to those that are willing to listen. And I hope someone hears me. Everyone says they don't want to be famous, but truthfully in our souls, we know that's a lie. Fame is nothing more than saying, I want to be seen. And everyone wants to be seen. Before you see your last days and you feel like there's nothing left, you want to know that in your prime, you accomplished as much as you possibly could. Where time management is a huge factor. Because if you don't manage your time well, I can guarantee you will not accomplish as much as you know you could have. When you put your head down on that pillow, you should know that you have done the very best you could with the 24 hours that you were given. And sometimes it might mean missing out on sleep. Sometimes it might mean missing out on a meal. Sometimes it means missing time with your family. But that's what it takes in order for yourself to be seen, to accomplish the goals that you have in life. You have to manage your time to know that you can still get everything done because it is more than possible as long as you manage your time effectively. 24 hours is a long time in a day. I guarantee if you looked at your phone and saw how much time you spent on social media, you would know where your time is going. If you saw how much time you was watching a movie, several shows, you would know where your time is going. And you know that these things don't improve you. You know these things don't take you anywhere further than where you already are. But yet we get stuck in these distractions, these excuses, these reasonings for why we are not where we want to be. I can no longer use these. I can't speak for no one else, but I can speak for myself. And I don't want to sit here and say I could have, I should have, I wish. I'd much rather lose sleep in doing what it is that I said that I was going to do because I am dedicated, because I had taken the first step and I don't want to fall off. And if that means that I have to be better at managing my time, that's what I will do. I will make sure that I get the things done that I know in my heart and in my soul that I should be getting done. And I am sharing my experiences with you, the people, the viewer, the listener that hopes to understand that no one is perfect. No one is doing as much as they know that they could be doing. You will always fall short somewhere, and that's okay. As long as you keep getting up, as long as you keep trying, as long as you keep taking those steps, you will get to where you know that you're supposed to be. And it may not be in the time frame that you want. It may not be how you want it to be, but that is why you construct it daily, moment to moment, who it is that you know yourself to be. I'm going to still try to go to the gym. I'm still going to try to wash my clothes. I'm still going to try to get to work on time because I know that's who I'm supposed to be. Anything less is not me. So why would I not shoot for the moon and hope to land on a star? Hopefully someone out there understands. And that's all I can hope with the fame that it is that I can acquire in the time I am on this planet. I do not want to walk a path that I do not want to see at the end. Because a lot of people lose their way following someone else, thinking that that's the way that they're supposed to go. Oh, I thought I was supposed to follow this person. No, you were never meant to follow anyone but your own intuition. That thing inside of yourself that first told you to get up, that later told you to keep on going. That's what you were supposed to follow. Follow that and you will always end up in the place that you're supposed to. It may not look exactly how you want it to look, but I promise you that it will get there as long as you remain dedicated in you and you keep taking those steps. Right now, I am in a shed. I wanted to show the start of where it is that I am because I can't lie to myself and I can't lie to you. I am currently living in a shed. I'm not living in here to the most comfortable situations, but it's the best that I could do so far. And I will aspire to do better. I will aspire to come up out of here, see a better light than the one that I currently see. And it's going to come with a bit of darkness. It's going to come with lost sleep. It already has. And if I have to lose more, then that's what it takes to be dedicated in me, to see the light that I want to see. I do not want to use an excuse of I followed this person. I just needed a couple more hours of sleep. I don't want to use these excuses as to why I lost a job that I knew paid me well. I never stepped into an opportunity that could have made me millions. I never started my business. I never got on the podcast that I was supposed to get on. I don't want to say that at the end of my days. I would much rather someone walk up to me and say, because of you, I am now getting started. You're the reason I keep going. And that means that I have to be more than who it is that I believe myself to be, stepping into the darkness and eventually finding new light. Just because you find the light doesn't mean that you will not go back in the darkness. As long as you breathe, you will always find that light comes with darkness. You just have to stay dedicated, knowing that you're on the right path. And if you're not, you have another 24 hours to re-navigate the road of your success. Keep stepping. Take that first step and don't stop. With that being said, this has been the first episode of the first season of the Human Being Live podcast. And I thank you for listening. In time, we will get better. But for now, we're doing the best that we can. I hope to have you as a listener in the future. Thank you for your time. Peace and many blessings.